That heifer right there just don't even care.
Take yourself out.
What do you say, folks? Hope everybody having a fine Sunday evening. I'll be down here. Check out these comments. See who all's in here right fast. Right. Old Grayson, he got first this evening, looks like. Mr. Russ Amos, good to see you. Keith Spillman. Ms. Deb, Son Bunny. Mr. Mike Tangway. Chris, good to see you, man. That's enough of my message. Give everybody a few minutes to get on in here. DC, good to see you. Buddy, did we have a rundown last night? That's Rodney Middleton. Good to see you. Bear with me as I get through these comments real quick. Ricky, good to see you, Captain. Stone River, good to see you. Bill, 33 Mile. Lee, Mr. Mike Conley. Well, yeah, because last night the laptop died, and or whatever, I don't know. After the thing, it just says restart. So, and Hannah, she's been in paperwork and all that stuff all day, and I think she's kind of over the technology for a little bit. She back there just kicking back this evening. But yeah, she had that kitchen table full of all the business receipts and this and that, getting all the, y'all know what it is, all the tax work and all that jive put up together. But she doing all right. But yeah, back to last night, buddy. We had a good little run. I got thinking about it a while ago. We had 4 first place, but we can only have 1 winner. And congratulations again, Matt and Alicia, there at Sandy Valley on that. Then we're gonna try to do it in about 2 weeks. All the kids should be lined out, this and that. I know we kind of repeat from last night, but for the ones of you that didn't make it, we'll do the creamed honey portion in 2 weeks and have the youngins on that part. Everybody should be over their ailments and this and that by then, and give y'all a chance. Anybody y'all want to send them cream honeys in? I think Mr. JW said he was going to send one in. We already got. Let's see. James Noel got 2 cream honeys. Joey sent one. Joey Rawls. Mr. Russell Koopman, and Brian and Jen. So we got about 6 or so running already on that. But looking forward to that part too. Let me get in here. Mr. Donnie's doing well. He got home last night and he sent me a text message, I guess, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes after he got home. And he checked his sugar. Everything's A-okay. It was like 130 on his sugar, this and that. So, yeah, he's doing good. He was telling me a while ago on the phone, he said, I should have took all those honeys and just poured them all into 1 cup, what was left, just kind of let them sit and see what everything tasted like on 1 run. But Told him, said, I think about doing that every single year, but I just completely forget. But as y'all seen, he pretty well drained the bottom of them cups, so there wasn't going to be too much left, if anything. Uh, but yeah, he's doing fine. Got to thank him again for helping us out there to, I don't know, kind of a sudden thing. But you can't help it if you get sick, this and that. Let me see your comment here, Lee. Who won the unofficial official honey taste? On the running honey part, it was Matt and Alicia. They won. We had to do a tiebreaker because we ended up having, I think it was about 4 of them that tied for first place. And let's see, Matt and Alicia had 2. That would have been something if you had to do a tiebreaker against yourself. But Sandy Valley had 2. That was first place. I think it was James Noel and Philip, I believe, were the other 2. And we had to break it down, and he finally picked him one there, and ended up being Matt and Alicia. But yeah, we had a good time. Oh, he did indeed, DC. He was happy as a pig in a wallet, I tell you. Um, let me see. I don't have a prayer list. I know Hannah read it off last night. So if there's anybody we just need to add to, or a praise report, as we're going to be now calling it, take somebody off, let us know. We'll surely do it on that end. But I think she got on there put up. I didn't drag any of that out because I didn't know how long really this live was going to last tonight. We just pretty well going to feed off y'all. I'll put a link in, and anybody wants to come in, come on. If not, we'll see what we can do with it. Yeah, you will, Mr. Randy, because there in the beginning he was talking about, well, I tried that sourwood one time, and I guess it was maybe a full blend or something, but he wasn't a big fan of it. Then I think, I can't remember who it was, but somebody had some sourwood mix, like sourwood and clover and sourwood and everything else. But he was saying I wasn't too much a fan on that sourwood. But then when we got to the sourwood part, he was sitting there pulling on it, and he was like, "It's pretty good," but he didn't have any idea what in the world it was at the time. But uh, maybe perhaps he just got on some not so well tasting sour. There we go. Yeah, Clay had to say. But yeah, y'all get some showing up good stuff. And y'all want to send Mr. Donnie a little shot of it, send it on to us, and we'll absolutely make sure the man gets it. We sent him home with, Hannah just kind of started putting stuff in the bag. I think it was about 5 or 6 to get him started good. We'll send him on with some more as he starts dwindling on back. But I know there's one in there, or a couple of them that Hannah pretty well told him about bats. Donnie, these are mine. He may have not a key. I'm not too sure. I couldn't say myself because I'm not sure what the taste of it is. It's one of them that's pretty well neutral with everything else, as far as just say a mild or bold flavor. Or I know there's a couple honeys out there people talk about that it's an acquired taste, I guess. But thinking on that, went down while Hannah was digging around in all that tax paperwork mess, getting everything put together. It'd been a little while since we checked on our little bunch and put any peppermint to them. So went down there real quick, just popped lids and picked boxes up and see what weight was and this and that in them. Pulled a couple empty supers off. They wasn't doing nothing with except for there was a few hive beetles in the boxes, but like I said, we hadn't put any peppermint on them about 2.5, 3 weeks. So kind of expected that a little bit, but wasn't bad at all on our end of things. No worries. But there was one medium that we put on one of those colonies out there, and they had moved up just enough just to occupy it. They hadn't even built the thing out by any means, but one center frame, they had some honey in that joker where it was just an older frame, and they ended up filling it. But I was like, I'm going to leave this frame out here by itself. Took me, after I got done piddling with everybody, got me a taste of it. Let me tell y'all what, best way I can explain it, I was telling Mr. Donnie, kind of, it's got a good ripe persimmon, a small persimmons, not them Japanese persimmons, but the little old native ones around here, I guess you want to call them. But they can be sweet when they are ripe. And that's pretty well what the honey's got a taste of. So if we'd have had a load of this, my goodness, we'd been all right. But I got it in there, draining out. So that thing should hopefully be drained out maybe about this time tomorrow or next day and get us a little pool off something around here, something to taste anyway. Oh yeah, absolutely. Lee, if you can do that, folks. Uh, I think it's about 7 or 8 o'clock on Sunday morning, something like that. He does his Facebook message. Plenty enough time for get up and if you're early bird anyway, be up and get you your go-go juice, whether that's coffee, tea, whatever the case may be. Sit down and listen to good service from Pastor Larry there. Mr. Randy, I've just seen you pop up down there. I'll be in touch with you sometime tomorrow on the latter part of our dealings there. But let me get this link in. I go to forget about that. Bear with me just a second. Push down on my buttons. All right. Hopefully it went. Okay. Looks like it did. Maybe she'll pin that for me. Like I said. Any y'all want to come in and jaw about it? Come on. If not, we'll talk derail, bees. I know a lot of folks just you kind of idling a little bit. If you're trying to feed, I know a lot of folks is kind of working on that. We made the attempt. They ain't having it yet. So I don't know what this goldenrod around here is going to do. We sure ain't had no rain and it's probably about 2.5, 3 weeks since we had a good rain shower. So there you, Mr. Donnie, get in here. There you. Yes, sir. You found your way back, didn't you, Mr. Donnie? But like I said, we enjoyed you last night. Appreciate you. Had a good time, good fellowship. Mr. Donnie opened us up and closed us out in prayer. So we had a good time. Matt and Alicia knocked Philip out of his seat. So there's always next year, y'all. Lord willing, we'll see how it goes. We'll do a 4th annual if y'all want to. But it was kind of surprising that some of y'all hit on it so early this year. I think it was about around June. late June, we got our first entry from Mr. Russell Amon. Then right behind that, Keith Spillman come in full throttle with Bertha. Said, "No, let me get mine on in." Mike said, "I'll be pulling my honey next weekend." I mean, our goldenrod is just now starting to. It's getting a little bit of color to it. You can see the yeller coming on out things, but we still are several weeks off any kind of flow, if there is one. Like I said, we need a little bit of rain to spruce everybody up a little bit. DC said I squeaked in just before the finish line. Yes, sir. No worries, Lee. We know you was enjoying yourself with some family and this and that. Like I said, anybody wants to go back, y'all watch it. Let me get in these. Let me get to these pictures real quick. I know I used this for the thumbnail this evening, but still, that's a pretty picture to me. Seeing all these different colors. That was everybody's entries last night. Even if you're looking from left to right, the second row, and it's going to be the third one down from the top, but Mike's purple honey he sent in. Like I say, it's pretty neat just looking over all them little cups in my world, I guess, seeing all the variations of tones and colors, what everybody sent in. But back here, see these comments. A couple of y'all snuck on in here while I was pushing buttons. Miss Sarah, it's good to see you. Who up? Jay, good to see you, Captain. Hope you're doing well over in that fine state of Georgia. Here we go. You got your boxes and everything pretty well squared away, Jay? Mr. Bill Lee, good to see you. Nothing else. You'll be ready for next year. I guess if we really think about it, we're in September now. Well, pretty well almost in October. So October, November, December, January. I mean, really, for us, we only about 5 months out for the change of season again. And about mid-February, everybody down this way start making transitions in the spring. James, he's doing good. He's he sent us a message last night, I guess about 30 minutes after he got home. Or it probably wasn't even that long, but short time after he got home, and he checked his sugar and he sent us a picture of his BG machine, and it was 136, 138, something like that. So for him, it was quite low. No issues at all. Like I said, he was happy as a lark being able to get in there. Y'all see him? He'll dig the bottom of that out of that cup if you let him. What else got going on? But got our little persimmon honey we're talking about there, and I had forgot what we kept year before last when we harvested a little bit of honey. We got, I don't know, 3 or 4 gallons, this and that. And we had kept it in an old, like one of them Tupperware tea jugs, I guess would explain that thing. But we'd gotten rid of all the honey, this and that, and there was just a little bit that was crystallized. I remember at the bottom of it. And since then, I completely forgot about it. So I went to trying to find something a while ago to stick that frame in and let that honey drain out of that frame. And I was like, oh, I got the honey jug in my spot back there. Well, I went to looking. Lo and behold, all that honey done dried up, liquid wise. And y'all, just the prettiest of crystals was sitting down in the bottom of that thing. I told myself, well, I have to put them puppies up too. Just as sweet as they could be. Y'all know I tried me a good little bit of it. And, I wasn't about to throw it away. Shoot, sprinkle that on a good hot biscuit too one day or something. Yeah, let me get y'all's comment. You're right, Stone River. We really don't have much of a change of a season. Uh, it'll get cool a little bit, but yeah, to be honest, it ain't too terribly bad, except for I guess about the end of January, early February, we'll get into some good cold snaps where it'll freeze a night or two, but usually a day or so after that, it's right back 50, 60, 70 degrees. I can't tell you how many times we've been in shorts at Christmas time around here. Oh, really, DC? I didn't know that. Uh, it's got some. It probably wouldn't take too much to get a mortise and pestle to grind that stuff on down. Uh, I just thought it was real pretty. Kind of, I guess, got a brown sugar texture to it a little bit right now. But uh, I'm nose around see if there's something we can do with it. Like I say, if nothing else, whenever she makes a good pan of biscuits, I'll sprinkle it on there. Next time she does French toast, that's what we'll use it for. Yes, sir. Quit talking about biscuits. I had Chinese dinner. I'm so hungry. Uh, who was that? Old Rodney. A few minutes ago, Rodney Middleton sent me a couple pictures, and he had made him a show enough pan of biscuits. That joker was, it was enough to fill a grown man. I'll say that, and then some. Told him, my brother, I said, that's a meal in itself right there. But yeah, he had him a show enough pan of biscuits going on. Had him a good jar of his honey there sitting right beside it. Knew what that man's fitting to do. Uh, shoot, let me show y'all real quick too while I'm on him. I did. He sent me these earlier in the week, and I hadn't even thought about tinkering with irons any this year, to be honest with you. But his solar wax melter had a few of them cutouts he's had going on. Yeah, well, I kind of showed them backwards, but I'll show you another one here in just a second. But he has some pretty stuff coming out of it. There's his other block. I think he had done a couple of renderings about the time he sent this in here, but uh, let's see. Yeah, that was a little bit before, but uh, had his pretty stuff coming out of it. I think he said he was getting about on them little 5 pound blocks or so out of each run. What we sending? What's she talking in that chat? I can't see there. Yes, DC French toast. That does sound good on son. Oh, Mr. Donnie get the file, honey. Yep. Mm. Oh yeah, Hey, if we turn him loose, or if we took Mr. Donnie to somebody's honey house, we'd have to pull him out because he would be in a coma by the time he left. Because if that man loves some honey, and we like it too, but that man showing up loves it. What say, Brian and Jen? Well, we really ain't got on the subject yet. I was just talking about tinkering with our little bunch out there a little bit. Uh, just kind of reminiscing about last night, going over the cream honey portion coming up. 2 weeks for everybody. I know that the babies was excited. Well, they really didn't know yet, but I know Ollie's mama and stepdaddy, and they was excited to have the kids do it, this and that. But there wasn't just no way we was taking chances of getting sick. We said, well, made emergency call, Mr. Donnie. He said, I'd be honored. All right, brother. Be at the house at such and such time if you can. He was here early with bells and whistles. All right, DC. Let me. Oh, never mind. She's telling me they're already. We got you on there still. I wish I would do it, DC. Uh, who else? Who else? Well, Paul Hill Hives. Good to see you, Captain. I'm gonna scroll back through these comments and see when y'all got in here. Yes, sir. Should have sent it on in, Paul. But Laura willing, we'll do it again next year for our 4th annual. We'll keep doing it as long as y'all want to keep going with it. Liverpool, Lancaster Bomber, appreciate you driving by. Oh, he was starting to get crunk on up, Brian. That sugar amplifying him a little bit. Do what? Huh? Oh, okay. Stone River, we'll roll pretty good until about July, and either about like everybody else get into a heavy dearth. But last year and this year, I'm going to say it wasn't nowhere. I guess it wasn't a drought, a full drought for dearth around here because they didn't fool with the hummingbird feeders any last year, and we put them out a time or two late this year. They didn't fool with any of them, and about a week and a half ago, I set that bucket out to open feed just to test the waters to see. Uh, Undoubtedly, there's still something out there, plenty enough for them to be pulling nectar on. Now, 3/4 of the boxes are light. That's what kind of drove me into, well, let me get some feed out here and see if they pull on it till if goldenrod does anything. That'll kind of pacify them a little bit, but they ain't even so much as touched that feed bucket. I've tried baiting it with uh put a little lemongrass out there to draw some attention to it. I run a bead of honey around the rim anybody that does a 5-gallon bucket feeder, you know how when you flip it over, it'll catch in that bottom. And I've run it around all completely on the rim on that part, nothing. So I took the cappings off of what I cut this evening. I squeezed everything I could squeeze out of them and took them cappings down there and put at that feeder to see if maybe they're just not finding it, which really don't know how they're not, because it's probably about 100 feet from them at the most. And if they going me thinking, if they're going to be after it, they should have started pulling on it by then. But they hadn't touched it. But yeah, we'll die down a little bit. We don't never really get much off, or we've never gotten really much off of goldenrod. Period. It's usually whenever we've had a good season, we was able to pull some honey. When we got our last run there, we'd probably pull it first week or two in July, and whatever they got after that, we just let everybody run on all the way through until next spring. But I can't say that we've ever really gotten a noteworthy goldenrod flow by any means. It usually turns into start feeding them either about this time or about mid-October, and they'll kind of start hitting them feeders a little bit. Let's see, Mr. Roy, goldenrod is coming in part of Michigan, but got some rain. We'll see how it does. It reblooms. Well, hopefully y'all be able to get I didn't put it in a bind where y'all can, them girls be able to take and get enough up, and you ain't got to do much feeding at all. But do encourage the feeding if you got to. Go ahead and get it on them now. They'll take it. That way you ain't trying to run the race whenever this cold weather sure enough gets in here. What you got there, DC? No eggs, larvae, just a little bit of deceased cat brood and a few bees. Wonder what happened. Now I did notice in ours that them queens have been cutting back. Now everybody did have cat brood in there, and pretty much everything in between, from eggs all the way up to cat brood. But looking at the numbers in the boxes, you can definitely tell the summer bees are starting to die off, and we're starting to get, there was a whole bunch of little baby bees running around, and little white hairs you could see real good. So we're starting to transition over to our winter bees, that's for sure. But we'll see how everybody does. So far, so good. My only concern is maybe they know something we don't, and they're going to be, like Stone River's comment there says, seems like things have been off, or the seasons are off timing just a little bit. That's the only thing I can figure, y'all, on our end is they know something we don't. They just holding off, and whenever it turns on, either way, whether they get on a little bit of flow or we'll keep testing the waters in another week or two on the sugar water. But I'm really hoping we'll get some kind of decent flow. That way they can have their own stuff in there, if you will. And won't have to do a whole bunch of feeding this and that, but I will say 3/4 of them out there are pretty light. But they bringing in pollen, boo-coo. just some pretty bright yellow pollen's been coming in the last couple weeks. But I'm seeing more of that in the early mornings, an hour or two after daybreak, and on until I say about 9 or 10 o'clock. They trucking that stuff in and out. Boom, boom, boom. We got to get up to the old place and go get that 8 frame that those folks wanted us to. What you got, preview it, show it off for them, whatever. They sent us that 8 frame box. I don't even know. It should still be up there. Shouldn't nobody fool with it, but man, Hannah was talking about that the other day. Just go ahead and get that mess on back to the house. We'll try it again next year. Fair, man. But I'm kind of curious to try out an 8 frame. So we may leave that one here and do some swapping around whatever boxes we take back up there next year. That's pretty well what I done, DC. Just done a quick condensing. Took off whatever they wasn't using, and I smoked the mess out of their tails and run everybody back down and pulled the box off real quick, set it to the side, close them up, hit them with the peppermint, then closed them up. Moved on to the next one. I probably wasn't out there maybe 45 minutes getting everybody lined up, but yeah, trying to bring them on down some. Ain't no need in having that spare room up there if they ain't using it. Thank goodness the Beatles ain't gave us no fuss this year. So seems like everybody did pretty good holding their own when we wasn't able to put the mix out there to everybody. Well, DC, it pays on your end not to have no weak hives. Much moisture you have out that way, all that rain and mist, even what y'all get in the winter times, snug and dry as they can be, and the more that's in there, most definitely better off we'll all be. But the numbers look good on everybody though, except for the little church house nuke. If I'm gonna worry about anybody, that's probably gonna be the ones that we may have a little time with. They just haven't. She's laying, but she just hadn't done that explosion, I reckon. But we'll let them thrive as long as they can thrive. We'll keep their little tails fed. And what I've done is stacked them on top of a 5 frame nuke. And if they don't go to filling, I'll give them till about November. And if they don't go to filling that bottom portion up with anything, then we'll just break everybody on back down. And best of luck to you, ladies. But I do have to brag on that one of those swarms we had got from Mr. Russell Amon. Those little girls are packed. Bees, honey, pollen. Those little girls are set up and ready to go. Well, send that rain on down this way. We sure need it. We'll keep saying y'all supposed to get a little bit later on in the week. Yesterday was our biggest chance of rain at 35% chance, or it may have been Friday. But anyway, the last day or two was our biggest chance. at 35%, then looking at it in the future cast, if you will, it ain't going to be but about 10 or 15% for the next 10 days. So I don't know. Maybe that almanac's actually going to be right on the fall and winter portion. Still got a little rub with it on the dog days. They should have extended that an extra week and a half. But I forgive y'all. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What's rocking and rolling around here? We just sitting already, waiting on to go. You gonna come sit with me now? Sit in mama's tire. Get you over here. Say hey to everybody right fast. You gonna be shy now? I got you. But yeah, everything else, we doing it. I got my mad scientist stuff going on out there still. Finally got not the emulsifier, but the glycerin. Tinkering around with the glycerin and the peppermint extract, trying to figure out. I had no idea there was so much differences as far as, we'll say, a hot, not so hot, and a cool, if you will. Somebody that does essential oils can tell you the real names of it, but I had no idea some essential oils were so volatile that many of them have different evaporation rates because of alcohol being put in them and this and that, so on and so forth. And I've been trying to do some measuring, and however much glycerin it'll take to hold stuff for so much longer, especially with that peppermint extract. Undoubtedly, there's a lot of alcohol in that peppermint extract, given the reason it evaporates so quick. So I got one of them sponges out there now that I mixed up, and it's going on day 3. I'll go out there tomorrow and pop the lid on it. That'll be day 4. If I can still smell it good in there, I know we surpassed the first test. Because the first one, it just, day 4, just dipping them in that peppermint extract, that you couldn't even hardly smell it in the box anymore. So if we make it past tomorrow, we'll kind of start tinkering with things a little bit more to see. I'm getting there, Brian. It was kind of, most everybody knows how it is. If you're trying to play mad scientist, there's a lot of trial and error on it. So I'm getting me a good baseline on the first part where we added glycerin, and I'll see how many days we can keep that smell in there, as far as I can smell it. And if we can start getting into a week, then I'll know, all right, this is what I need to add a little bit more of the extract and eucalyptus and the glycerin to it. To hopefully, I'm working on trying to get it to about 2.5 to 3 weeks, hopefully, to where them sponges hold that smell in there. Lord willing, that's the plan. So, well, we're gonna keep at it, see what we can do with it. Then once we get it all figured out, we'll let y'all know. But it's in the testing stages, I guess. Well, there's the champions done got in here. Matt, Miss Alicia, congratulations again. Hey, we appreciate everybody joining us, being a part of it, the fellowship. Everybody cutting up, carrying on prior to. It's always a good time. Now we just got to hear from Philip. See what his words are on it. Right. I guess he can technically claim that he was a first place runner up to carry on. But yes, sir. I done lost my train of thought sitting here trying to read these comments. Keep up with y'all. It's aggravating that doggone laptop. I done got spoiled to looking down and being able to see everybody's comments on that thing, then having to get back to this small screen where you can't see but about 3 comments. And you have to scroll back to see what everybody's saying. But I do think next year, I'm going to say it helps some, but I think we're going to switch over to screen bottom boards at least for the spring and summer season. I'm not so much worried about the heat part and all that. They do. It's not a heat thing for me. I'm thinking having some of them screen bottom boards kind of helped out quite a bit on keeping them blasted beetles at bay a little bit better as well, with them being able to run them, just keep them knocked down out of that wire mesh as well. But get all that stuff put together and maybe get out there and tinker and build a couple screen bottom boards and have them ready for next year. And get the horizontal hives. That's going to be one of the projects as well, is getting the horizontal hives with some kind of screen bottom on them. Because either way, now they do beer pretty hard in them horizontal boxes, especially whenever we got different colonies in each one and they go to taking off. But we'll see if that'll help as well. Or they may just do us like they did whenever we tried helping them with ventilation one time. We pulled a entrance cap we had blocking the entrance because we was like, well, we're just going to put a colony here and let it fill this whole box in and get it 30 frames of bees and honey. Well, they started bearding real heavy. Well, let me take this one end piece off here. Going to get you a little bit more air flowing. Y'all, it went about 3 days later, went down there and looked, and they had completely propolized what we had pulled off for them to ventilate with. It was like, okay, y'all know better. That'd probably work, DC. It's just, we got to be careful from what we've been seeing. Then whenever we made that runner outer, as Hannah calls it, we really poured the peppermint eucalyptus to it. And I guess you don't want to overwhelm them too terribly much. What we figured out is with that 3 milliliter syringe, filling that puppy up and running across each side of those frame rails and doing about 1 or 2 boxes typically holds us for a good while. They don't seem to bucket or anything like that. Now, I have thought about taking those, if we can get these sponges figured out, sticking them inside some trays, and that way it's continually pulling that smell up into the colony instead of them having to circulate and push it down. That would definitely be a bigger benefit, I believe. Like I say, allowing them to pull that up and keep it a continuously flow upward instead of them trying to push it down. Mr. Russell Coogan, good to see y'all. Hope y'all doing well. Now, we do have some, I haven't tried, I guess it's just because we got so used to just using the peppermint extract. Um, Now we've got some essential oil, but I hadn't even thought about dragging that out, to be honest with you. Uh, Dogs up something. But I think they use just like some kind of, I say it's like a cooking oil. We've never put oil in the bottom of ours or anything like that on any kind of traps. Unless whenever we was using them beetle traps that you put oil in, and all we was doing is just put regular old vegetable oil in there, and whenever they would get in them, that'd take care of it for the most part. But as far as putting anything down into the trays, we hadn't put any kind of oil in there. I just talking to some people about it, whether they was doing it for beetles or the mites or anything. Uh, they said that oil can get quite messy and go to getting a little stench to it pretty quick. And I didn't want to have to get out there and keep changing that mess back and forth. So we just kind of let them push whatever you're going to push down in that tray. And for the most part, from what we see, they keep everything down in that tray once they finally get them down in there. Oh, Minnesota Mike, good to see you, sir. Okay, at least they ain't think it's just vegetable oil. That's some pretty stuff sitting out there, Mr. Donnie. Them old logs. Maybe we can find you somebody one day that's got a portable mill. Get them things cut up. I got a bunch of cedar out there, cedar logs. I've been sitting on myself. I'd love to get whittled down into some little boards of this and that. Don't know what I use it for yet, but we just couldn't let it go to waste. Cutting it off that old red cedar. Yeah, I'd love to have cedar boxes. Not just for the fact to help with different pests and this and that, but uh, that red cedar, man, you talk about some pretty material. That's what all this is back here is old rough cut cedar. Well, yeah, all that down the wall and around over here. But that's what all that is, some old rough cut. We was doing a job for somebody and they had a bunch of it left over. They said, just take it to the dump. I was like, man, that's brand new. Well, just take it to the dump. I said, yeah, we'll take it on off for you. Don't you worry. We brought that mess right on to the house. No worries, Mike. I know there was several folks. Lee said he was doing stuff with his family. I know Joey, they was out and about doing some stuff with their family. He had texted early Saturday morning and was telling me, look, hey, I'm not going to be doing any lives Sunday, anything like that. I'm spending time with family. We out and about doing our thing. No, y'all enjoy yourself. We'll chit chat with folks. Well, Mike, you set up for a good little bit then. We got a bunch around here. I'd love to get down, get cut. If I had a meal, I'd show them meal every bit of it up, but it's one of them. You can't even find anybody to do pulpwood around here anymore. Well, James, you send it on anytime you want. I'll let Hannah try it. Just to see what that tastes like. That would be interesting to a pickly honey. But it does remind me, you said your wife tasted it and she took off and she was gone. She didn't want no part of it. But send it on. We'll taste test it if you want. That'll give Mr. Donnie something to try too there. Maybe sourwood may be second on his list after that. Well, we appreciate you, Mike. Y'all are family as well. We often talk about how good folks are in this beekeeping chat. All of them. Everybody we trying to make it keep these bees, whether you're just doing backyard beekeeping or you have, thankfully, some of the commercial guys that come in. There ain't many of them, but there are a few of them out there like Ian willing to come in and talk to folks. That way they can grow and learn how to tend for whatever bees you got, whether you got 1 or 100. The only other one I know of, as far as, well, I take that back. There's a couple of them. Mr. Bob Benny's good about educating folks and answering questions and this and that. Then Grayson had somebody on his channel not too long ago. I can't remember that dude's name to save my life right now, but he was a commercial beekeeper, and it was actually encouraging listening to that guy talk because it wasn't that one side of, well, I'm a commercial guy and everybody else is nobody's. He was trying to incorporate everybody and everybody learn together to be successful in it, whether, like say, you're doing backyard or you're trying to make a go of it. Oh, I forgot about that, Mr. Dan sending the lanternfly. Yes, no, Mr. Donnie, I ain't seen no pulpwood folks in a while. Used to, you see them running all up and down the highway, but we called one time to see if somebody wanted all this oaken mess out here, and nobody even cut anything nowadays unless it's 5 acres or more. They won't even come out and look at it. So we just kind of said, we'll get to them when we can, I reckon. But sure would be nice to find some old dudes to do that old pulp work again. Have to look at the list, Mr. Donnie, to tell you what number it was. It was one of them, I know. Or did we? Pretty sure we had that one in the tasting. Let me go look here. Oh, never mind. She's rearranged everything over there. I had to go digging. But if nothing else, I'm pretty sure we put it in the contest last night. If we didn't, next time you over here, Mr. Donnie, we'll drag it out and let you try it. But that lanternfly is some kind of invasive little bug up in the North Country up there that kind of does like our little aphids do. Huh? Okay. Hannah was saying the lanternfly was either the first 2 or 3 in the beginning of the honey tasting last night. So you tried it. But yeah, you know how we get the honeydew on everything around here, Mr. Donnie? That's basically what that lanternfly, from my understanding, does up there in the North Country. But it's some kind of invasive bug that thrives up that way. Mr. Mark, we want Matt. We want Matt. It kind of looks like a moth, I guess, Mr. Donnie. Hey, pick away, brother. That way, if not, we know folks are picking at us, we on your good side, or that's how I work at least. If I'm picking at you, we don't get a turn. You got to pick and have a good time with folks. Uh, that's usually you're gonna make for some good conversation in there somewhere, cutting up and carrying on, folks. What'd you say, Mr. Mark? Got them 18 wheels rolling? Uh, Mr. Donnie asking, how does it affect the honey? They put off, all right, when them little aphids, we'll say poop, if you will, there's a little bit of a sugary substance. And the aphids oftentimes will like trade that off with ants to have the protection of ants and this and that. So it's kind of a trade off in nature. And from my understanding, them lanternflies, they'll secrete that sweet substance pretty well the same way. And I reckon it'll drop on leaves and limbs and this and that. And the bees, they'll collect it and take it back to the colonies, and they'll end up turning that into a honey. I imagine there's somebody on here that can explain it 10 times better than that. But from what I gather about the little critter, they kind of put off a sugary substance out their backside. And that's where you get lanternfly honey. Take care, Mr. Randy. I'll next time you up here something like that next day or two, we'll pull it up and I'll show you what them little critters look like. If I remember right, they're about big as an old moth you see flying around at nighttime. They got little spots on them, I believe. Well, good deal, Mike. He's saying apparently the local birds are starting to eat the lanternflies en masse. Nature finds a way. Indeed, it does. Well, maybe in nature, cull them little rascals on out for y'all and be done with that. I'm not sure I can't remember what all they do to affect the environment, but apparently they're a destructive little critter in some kind of ways. YouTube's been weird lately in a lot of ways, DC. I don't know what's going on with things. JB saying they're starting to show up there in Virginia now. Uh, so I guess they kind of migrating on down this way a little bit. I don't know how much they'll survive, but they may thrive down this way once they finally get them down here, especially this warm climate all the time. Because it sure don't take care of the mosquitoes or anything. Uh-oh. Yep. The dishwasher quit working. That thing. What happens when you get old machinery, it'll work for a while, then break down. It'll work for a while and break down. All right, DC has said they damaged the crops by eating on the stalks of the plants, he believes. Brent says apparently the lanternflies are mass killing of some trees. So apparently they devastating trees. I guess maybe kind of like our wood beetles do in these old pines and stuff like that. They get a tender spot in them. Them old beetles get in and you'll hear them chomping in the trees, especially at nighttime when it gets good and quiet. Get it by an old pine log, you can hear that old wood beetle in there just chomping down. There we go. That sounds good. That's better than the dishwasher. Get that beverage fridge put in. We can keep that thing stocked, ready to go all the time. Don't have to worry about it going out. Oh, hold up. Oh, all right, yeah, hold up. Get my buttons going here.
Hey Tim, how's it
Well, yeah.
going?
What's that, bro? Oh, let me get my volume here. There we go. I got you now. What's that, Cam?
Hey, now I appreciate you having me on. I know Mark was taunting me there in the chat, so I had to pop on and not be so innocent, sitting back. So, but no, I appreciate you organizing everything and getting this all together and the fellowship every Sunday, but also just on a fun thing with the honey tasting and getting all that together. I know I sure enjoyed it and just watching it. I really didn't think that we were going to win, to be honest, and it was just fun to watch and be a part of it. So I appreciate it.
We enjoyed ourselves, y'all. Everybody sending it in. Like I said, this is everybody's thing. I really wish if I knew where to go back and figure out who it was that come up with the idea to start with, because it sure wasn't ours. Can't take credit on it, but I really wish I could remember who it was in the group that said, "Hey, let's start doing this." We didn't think it was going to be but just 1 year. Then, we did it year before last, and last year
Hmm.
everybody telling us, "Hey, let's do it again." So, like I said, we'll do it
Yeah,
long as we want to.
that's great. I bet it gets bigger and bigger every year. I'm sure. I already know there's gonna be some people gunning for me next year. Philip may be one of them.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we know he's going to be gunning. That's for sure.
Oh, that's funny. It's all good. It's all good stuff. So
Yeah, especially as much running around bragging he did. I mean, he
I
took
know.
full advantage of bragging rights. So grab the reins and go, brother. It's y'all
Yep.
turn this time.
Yep. Yep. He's good people. So yeah, have you guys gotten any rain down there? I think you were kind of mentioning that a little bit earlier in the chat, but we finally got about a half inch of rain or so the past couple of days. It's really helped out the goldenrod.
No, so we ain't seen much rain at all in the last few weeks, and I was hoping, looking at the future deal on the radar, but it's probably going to be another week or so before we see any chance of it, at least.
Hmm. Yeah, that's Mr. Mark Miller himself said it earlier this spring. It would be a year of extremes, and I think he was basically nail on the head. It's got a lot of rain, lots of rain, and then kind of nothing, all at once. So
Well, it was like our rains were backwards down here anyway. If we'd have got our spring rain, we'd have been all right. But it's like we got our spring rain early to midsummer, then come the end of July, early August, it pretty well shut off on any kind of rain.
Yeah,
But
it's I guess it's farming, you know, that's just part of it. We plant our crop and see what we can do. So
that's it. That's all we can do. Just go with it. We'll take what we can get. Try it again next year.
hmm
I'm really hoping that it looked like something was supposed to, listening to these weather guys, something was going to be coming across those Rocky Mountains and kind of pushing on down this way, but I don't reckon it's going to do what they was anticipating.
Yeah, it's been real spotty at best. Last probably month and a half, it could rain a mile and a half away, and you'd never even know it. You know, it just pop up thunderstorms. More than likely is what I'd call it. Just a couple valleys away, it's raining cats and dogs, but nothing at the house or what have you.
Well, one of the weird things around here, and Mr. Donnie, he's in here and he can vouch for it too, and we've asked the show enough old timers that have been here in our area their whole life, and especially right where we live. I asked myself, what's up with the rain just like completely going around us? Because there's a
hmm
time you can literally watch it on the radar and it'll be a line coming. You're like, all right, good deal. We fix to get a good shower. And right before it gets to us, you can literally watch it break up and go around our area and kind of start back over 20 miles east or west of us over there. But
hmm
um, the only conclusion anybody's kind of come up with says the only thing I can figure is all these open fields and the hot air pushing up off them open fields is doing something. But
Yeah. I mean, I noticed that around we're south of St. Louis about 45 minutes, and you can kind of see that on the radar going around the city of St. Louis. And my thought about that was all the asphalt and the streets and the pavement, and then all the flat roofs, those tar roofs. It's a major, you know, what I would think of a major updraft with all the heat. And I'm sure it affects the weather somehow. At least big cities. I'm not sure. I'm not a weather forecaster, but I do see it on the radar from time to time.
yeah, I'm one of them. Well, just walk outside or drive to work. It's going to rain when you get to work. You know that's going to happen. So uh, just kind of go on that. Mr. Mark Miller said, how does it feel? Know your honey is top of the top.
Oh, you know, just like all of us, you know, when it's coming out of that extractor, it's liquid gold. It's the best honey we've all ever tasted, you know. So, yeah, it definitely feels good, you know. But I just got lucky on the right day at the right time with the right guy, you know, or the right person tasting it. So
Hey,
it,
bribe free too.
yeah, that was bribe free.
Bribe
I'm gonna,
free.
I'll send him some after the fact, you know, because it was bribe free. But yeah, no, that I guess the one that ended up winning was just a black locust. So it was probably the first super that they were able to fill up first part of May. So it you know, the bees worked hard. You know, I just helped manipulate them in the right ways at the right time, hopefully, and just tried to give them everything that I could. But they did all the hard work. I just got
I,
stung.
I can see Mr. Donnie behind the camera now. Yes, sir. Some more honey. More honey.
Yes, yeah, that was definitely our lightest of definitely the lightest. Probably the least of what we got out of our total harvest was the black locust. I think we only got 3 buckets of that.
It was some fine honey. Oh, y'all done some good jobs. And I know we
Yeah,
say it all the time, but there ain't no way we can honestly be the taste testers, y'all. It would be like, where do we start? Because between all the different flavors and the taste, and like whenever we get the ones from, say, Joey or Brian and Miss Kathy, our region down here, we can taste the privet and the tallow and pretty well the same things that we get.
hmm
But when you kind of start getting that mix of, where y'all are at out there in Missouri or, DC and Washington, or Mr. Dan, and then up there in Pennsylvania, you get all these different citrusy flavors and unique flavors out of it. And it's like, but there's some fine stuff out there that people really don't even know what kind of good honey's out there.
Hmm. Yeah, it's always fascinated me, and the more I learn, the more it fascinates me. Just all the different nectaries and things that are, like the one of those honeys was a possum grape or more of a persimmon. Mark Miller is actually the one who yeah, I didn't even know we had possum grape until he came up and was visiting, and we went down the road, and he looked up and he said it's everywhere. I mean, it's literally everywhere alongside the roads. Just it grows like kudzu around here, but it's all just wild grape. And I guess they hit that at the right time. Sorrel vine is another name for it.
I had
But
to look that up
yeah,
and see what it looked like.
yeah, I had a feeling. I mean, I had seen it as a kid, but I just remember kind of seeing what a wild grape growing in the woods, up along. It'll take up any kind of unmanicured roadway for sure, facing the right direction. It takes over like kudzu almost. So,
Is
but
it
yeah, it's
a vine or a tree?
it is a little vine. Yep, it'll creep. So it'll almost take up the whole anything that it can get to. It's going to start climbing it, and it looks just like a grape leaf, just a single leaf, and it'll grow maybe a leaf every 6 or 8 inches or every foot, and it does put off some little tiny, what looks like grapes that are they're white. If you were to smash them, they're white on the inside, and they don't taste quite like a grape would, but. Yeah, they're I guess they put off just a real small little flower, and the bees just really seem to hit those pretty hard for a certain amount of time. But I think with all the rain, and that probably picks up different types of flowers like that, and different flowers probably didn't bloom at all because of all that rain, or it all got washed out.
Hmm. Now I'm
But
gonna have to Google that because uh, sip is what we call a grape or like the small scoponon around here. Because if
hmm
it is, then our yard is loaded with that mess too. But
hmm
I'm gonna have to look it up, see if it's something different or if it's we got the same stuff, just calling it different names.
Yes, sorrel vine, vine sorrel. Like it goes by a bunch of different names depending on what part of the country, but I'll bet you have it. I almost guarantee it.
Whatever it, if it's the same thing, ours finally, which we've been here for 8 or 9 years now, and ours, but we got some granddaddy of vines. Them things are probably a good 4.5 inches in diameter on a couple of them.
Hmm.
One of them is shooting all the way up to the top of a long leaf pine, but they finally put off this year is where I'm going with it. And I sat there and I watched them and I waited. I think if we'd have had a little bit of rain, they'd have probably been a whole lot more sweeter. But when they finally started dropping, I latched hold of one of them vines and went to shaking and just had a handful of them fall down. But they was purple, but almost a black. I guess the best way I can explain the color on, just real deep looking.
Hmm.
But there wasn't very much sweetness to them. But that could have been maybe
That
lack of
might.
rain.
Hmm. Yeah, I know the persimmon really put off a big bloom here. Those trees look like they're about falling over here. I mean, they're just so full of fruit. The limbs almost look like they're bending, or they are bending. But um, so for the most part, it seemed like they had a pretty good bloom here. Um, the locust bloom actually. I mean, we have thousands and thousands of black locusts around, but the ones that I was watching predominantly on the way to the bee yards, half of them I want to say bloomed, and half of them didn't. I mean, there was a good amount of them took a break this year, I guess I should say, and didn't put off any bloom at all. Or if they did, it got washed out and the perfect rain at the perfect time. But it's just interesting that you know what you're thinking is going to be an every year deal, may just take a rest and not bloom at all that year.
Well, I'm a Bible believing man, and I don't see why, if the Lord instructs us to do this, I don't know why He wouldn't do it on His own. But the only thing I can figure on some stuff like that, He tells us to let the land rest every 7 years for every plant.
Hmm.
So, are we in one of those years of rest kind of thing? And perhaps it'll start picking up after this and that. But that's kind of where I go with it.
Hmm. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Now, me and Mr. Donnie was talking the other day about them persimmons, and there's a lot of folks around here that's got them old, the Japanese persimmons, more kind of like a bush, but they about big as a softball, just about some of them things to get.
Hmm.
But now, our regular old persimmon, the little fellows that don't get too much bigger than maybe about a little bigger than a quarter, really. Now we got buku out in the yard that we just let go, and I was looking at some the other day at our house and my father-in-law over here, and they putting off good. They're turning color. I went over there and I shook on one of them puppies, had a few of them fall out, but when I picked it up, they were just about rock hard.
Hmm.
That they already drying up and they ain't even hit the ground yet.
Yeah, a lot of our trees are already turning, or I want to say the oaks have already turned. Maples are starting to turn, red buds, all that. So it's all anything that's, early spring or, at any point, um, putting on leaf is already drying out and turning its colors. So usually have a pretty good fall color spread up here in the hills and stuff. But I don't think this year is going to be pretty bland. I want to say it'll probably all fall off. Couple good rains.
We have one color change, and that's brown.
Mm,
That's all you'll see. It'll go from green to brown. We don't have any kind of that like you talk about. You look off and you see all the different colors of the trees.
yep.
Uh, now, unless you get into somewhere where there's a thicket of popcorn trees or tallow.
Okay.
Now, if you get in a tallow thicket, now you'll get that real pretty change in color. But man, everything around here is evergreen or oaks.
That's a tree we don't have up here is tallow. That's for sure.
They uh they grow they grow pretty good around here. From my understanding, one of the deacons at church was telling me that the reason they brought that in down here was to use pulp and to show enough olden days because it grew
Hmm.
quick and it was a quick turnaround. Within, I guess, 5 to 8 years, you can have a quick turnaround and go with it. But uh, kind of like I had to go back. Whoever's comment it was a minute ago saying that you never paid attention to flowers or trees at all until Mr. Roy said start beekeeping. You stop at every plant or flower you ignored growing up. He said he
Hmm.
drives up the wall trying to figure out, well, does this put off something? Or
Yeah. Yep. It almost turns you into a master gardener, a master gardener. I find it fascinating. I guess I always have. It almost we grew up with a lot of horses, and horse pastures, and it just kind of beekeeping. Honestly, kind of reminds me of being able to forget everything that's going on at the day at that time, and and the hustle and bustle of daily life, and it kind of reminds me of running through the horse pasture, catching butterflies, or watching bees on flowers, or just really just being a kid, so it kind of just takes me back to, I guess, that point in my life. I'm not sure quite what it is, but it's a relaxing feeling. I can tell you that. So they're just a conduit for, so many different ways to self-reflect and to become a better person, ultimately,
well, so
somehow,
Dave,
somehow, some way.
them days of innocence, being that you didn't have no worries, this and that. You know, you little, you
Mm-hmm.
get out there and you go hit the woods or cut through the fields or do whatever, and it was just, man, it's free. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep. The only thing I had to worry about was my mom yelling for dinner, or hollering off the deck. I had to be within earshot wherever I was going fishing or hunting with my BB gun, whether it be wild rhinos or some sort of big game animal I was trying to hunt out there. I mean, I was hunting sparrows, but in my mind, I was going after something big. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm taking
But,
down whatever I can.
yep.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, that's what kids these days need more of. To be honest.
and Lord, yeah, definitely don't know what they're missing. But my daddy was that same way. You can go as far as you want, as long as you can hear me when I holler for you.
Yep. Yep.
And I definitely took full advantage of that. As soon as I get home, if I go hit the woods, I was gone. And I'd
Yep.
be home when I heard Daddy call. I better be heading on to the house. But
Hmm.
definitely some much better days, I guess, or less worry, I reckon.
Hmm.
Was that old saying?
How?
We spend so much time trying to grow up, and whenever we grow up, we try to spend so much time becoming a kid again.
Hmm. Yep. It'll be here before we know it. Type thing. How are your bees looking? You guys getting ready for winter down there? I take it.
Yeah, everybody's looking good. They light, a little
Hmm.
lighter than we're comfortable with, but like we were saying earlier, we tried putting a little open feed to them, this and that, figuring, well, y'all so light, there's got to be a dearth going on. But undoubtedly, there's something out there that they pulling just enough to keep them from trying to rob on sugar water or hummingbird feeders or Coca-Cola, whatever the case may be.
That's good. Yeah, we're full blown dearth here right now. I mean, it's I back my truck up with that syrup tank and just the connections around the fittings and stuff like that. They're not leaking anything, but they can just smell that that's the next closest source to the main source of where it's that smell's coming from, and they just when there's a flow on because they'll ignore the truck, and when there's not, boy, they're as soon as I'm backing up, they're pinging the windows, so um but yeah, it can be it's just telltale signs. But right now, the goldenrod's in full bloom, but they're obviously not getting much nectar off of it because they'd be ignoring me a little bit more than they are.
Well, I wonder if that's a sign to show for us because I know we all kind of in the springtime, y'all go off of us. Then as we get into fall and winter, we come, we figuring out what y'all are doing up there as
Okay, yeah,
kind of push down this way. So
I never thought about it like that.
I wonder if that's to be it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. At least in our area, I haven't really seen too much nectar come off of goldenrod. I feed right through it. Tell you the truth, if they need it and they're light, you can tell just by a couple middle frames right there in the top box what they're doing. But
And there's one.
ours are a little lighter. We're putting some sugar water to them right now. Still at a 1-to-1, but we're pouring it to them if they need it.
Well, if nothing else, especially like we read in the bee journals, and you mentioned it, and I think seen a video of Charlie's come out where he's already starting to pour the feed to them as well and getting ahead of things. That way, whenever the cold weather does get here, everybody's locked up nice and tight, and you got to worry about, they're going to be starving out on the warm days and this and that. Pretty well take them over
Mhm.
until we got that lull in spring.
Yeah, and for us too, it's probably a little different than just the person with a few eyes in the backyard or what have you. But we're trying to get big hives into winter because we're selling hives off, nukes out in the spring. So we want a big going into winter because we want a big coming out. So for us, it's a management style too.
Well, especially so if y'all trying to get them nukes and everything prepared or prepare to start doing nukes come spring. Like I say, if you ain't got the numbers, you ain't gonna get the nukes going. And if that's
Yeah.
one of your financial goals, you got to have them numbers to take off in the beginning. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I can't, I wouldn't say I'd change anything about it, so just looking forward to next year. I said that to JW. It was like I sent him a text and said, "Looking forward to next year" with an exclamation point, or next spring. He said, "Stop wishing your life away. It'll be here before you know it."
Well, yeah, I mean, what we counted a minute ago, we about 5 months out, really, on our
Yeah.
end. I guess usually come about mid-February. Everybody's starting to crank on up down here and working on getting some early splits going and trying to get built up before any kind of flow starts kicking off. That way, you got that little bit of head start.
Yep. I've been telling myself it's kind of like you're going to open the lid the next time you go to the yard the way you left them, a week or two ago, whenever that last time was. So you're not gonna get any magical free gifts. So if you're not gonna give them what they need the last time you saw them, you can't be expecting any miracles. So the animal husbandry part comes in, when you're closing the lid, you know where you expect to see them the next time you go into them, and if they're not there, you just kind of go backwards, like why aren't they there? What the possible factors, and but beekeeping as a whole is taught me a lot.
Man,
I, I learn I learn something every day.
it ain't what we thought it was going to be. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we didn't
Hmm.
have the mindset of, oh, this ain't going to be nothing to it. We was just about like most everybody else, starting to check out videos and this and that. You kind of pick up on things in people's videos. Like, well, you got to make sure they're fed. Had no idea about pests of any kind of means.
Hmm.
You figure it's just pretty well, all right, put the bees in the box and you do a little bit of tinkering every here and there and go get some honey out of it. But that's definitely not so much of what it is. I reckon. Like you say,
Hmm.
there's a lot of managing involved, make a plan, and staying on top of. Mr. Roy said he's 8 months from spring beekeeping.
Yeah, our weather really starts picking up. I'm splitting about April 1st, traditionally or most of the time. Right around that time is when I'll need to take the hives down to about 3 to 4 frames of brood with the queen.
We'll just start. Yeah, I say about mid-February, a little bit after Valentine's Day, because the last several years we've noticed just about week 2 in February, you'll start seeing them signs in them cups. And we have had a year or two where, I mean, to our surprise, you go in there just checking them, and man, you've already got cap queen cells in there.
Hmm.
And we've had some good queens come out of them. We kept one queen out there for about 3 years, and she did wonderful till the beetles got into her last year. But we called her Valentine because we went out there on Valentine's Day, was just kind of going through everybody, and lo and behold, buddy, there was 2 fine and queen cells. We was like, there ain't no way y'all already putting off this early. So we split them
Wow.
up, and buddy, they done well, but that's kind of now we start. tuning in a little bit more of, all right, are y'all going to be putting off early, or we're going to drag it out another week or two closer to
Hmm.
one?
Yeah, that's one thing about strong colonies going into winter. They're gonna come screaming in spring. Everything goes well with them. So I got to watch that pretty close too. But our red maples, they really don't around here. They really don't start brooding up till somewhere in they'll start laying a little bit in January, but not much. February, the red maples will pop, depending middle of February, somewhere around there, and from there and on, it's pretty much go time. So they're starting to brood up pretty heavy into February, into March, and come April, it's split time.
What is y'all's main flow up that way? Spring.
Spring would be probably black locust primarily. That's first of May, first week of Mayish, and from there it just really turns into a lot of clover, um, clover and the red bud. We do probably definitely get a little nectar off of the red bud trees. They're pretty profuse. About the same time, right after the red maples would be red buds. And then from there, a lot of they're getting a lot of nectar. I've seen them. I saw the bees this year work an oak tree ferociously, and they were hitting the newest little acorn that was coming out. I guess it almost looked like a little tiny belly button. You couldn't even tell it was an acorn yet, and it wasn't a flower, but it had to have something sweet enough on it because it was right in the middle of the dirt there about a month ago, and I don't know. I was surprised in seeing that anyway. I'm not sure what kind of oak it was. It wasn't a red or white or anything like that. It was kind of a different shaped leaf, but so yeah, they're hitting trees earlier in the year, and then they're switching over to as soon as dandelions hit um, sometime in March, late March, early April. I mean, they just hit the gas and don't let off. But we're really blessed in our valley. We have agricultural, farms around, but nothing huge. But we make a lot of our honey on the margins. So we have spring creeks that run all throughout the valley. So that's obviously a good thing. But all along those river banks and creeks and the feeder creeks going through the fields are all, pretty tall throughout the year. They're unmaintained. So they're just, um, there's not a whole lot of spraying. Not to say that there's not spraying going on, but they seem to be doing pretty well, in the different areas that they're at. So we're just really blessed and just following a passion, following their lead, so to speak.
That's what I was going to ask, if y'all are in a pretty rural area, but what you described.
Yeah, it's pretty rural out there. Yep. When I say I'm not even sure how many square miles the city is, but it's more agriculture, more rural farms than homes or any subdivisions for sure.
Uh, Mr. Roy, best way to explain it, I get Google them is the best way I can explain. He's asking what the red buds are. If you've seen them, or if they grow in your area, when you see a picture of one, you'll go, oh yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Hmm.
But they're a very pretty tree, but undoubtedly the bees can get quite a bit out of them whenever they go putting out. Because, buddy, when they put them buds, little red buds, whenever them things go to blooming, I mean, them trees can just be full. But that's pretty well one of our first signs of color coming in spring is them old
Hmm.
red buds.
Yeah, ours working pretty hard. We I don't know, it probably blooms for the better part of 2 or 3 weeks, probably. In total, maybe a month, just with all the smaller and the larger ones. But um, they're kind of like a dogwood around here, so they don't get real tall. So they're a secondary tree, so to speak, in the forest. Maybe 15 foot tall. Maybe it would be a pretty tall one, but they do when they put off pretty good nectar, I believe. So I wouldn't know, to be honest, because I don't have any supers on at that time. but they're filling up their brood nest and they're growing strong on it for sure. I don't have supers on until May. The black locust first I put them on.
Most folks down here have them old red buds for, I guess, yard decor
Mm-hmm.
thing. Because I mean, they do make pretty yard ornaments, if you will. But uh, ain't too many, but there's quite a bit around down this way.
Yep, that redbud mimosa. We have a lot of mimosa around, and our main flow, like the heat of the main flow, if you want to call it that, is when that mimosa is blooming. It's usually first or second week of May, all the way through July, um, and it just seems to coincide with whatever nectaries are open at the same time that tree is blooming. But I don't think they get it all off mimosa, but that's when our supers are filling up for sure. And then soybean takes us into the dearth. Um, we got a lot of soybean around us this year, so we probably made a fair amount of nectar off of soybean too. Um, and then that just kind of keeps a robin down, so to speak. I mean, that just keeps me from having to feed any earlier. I think the earliest I was putting buckets on this year was last week of August. So I'll take it when I can get it, because it gets expensive quick anyway.
With yes, Lord, yes. Well, the more you're having to pour in to find sugar and this and that, that's taken away from profit margins on anything, especially whenever
Hmm.
you compensate for something else.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm really hoping this next growing season, like right across the road from us, they got about 100 so acres that they plant each year, whether it's peanut, cotton, or soybean. So I'm hoping coming into the next growing season, they'll transition to soybean and maybe we'll get something off of it because they did peanuts this year and this weekend they've been out turning the fields everywhere. And all you see is peanuts for days out in the fields out there, but uh, you ain't getting nothing but peanuts.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the one good thing about having soybeans, because in the springtime, that's where all our dead nettle and henbit will start. That's what the farmers all consider annual weeds, but that's a bee's kind of first fuel right there at the end of February, right there at the red maple time. Just the whole fields will just be purple and pink. So I know they're bringing that in for sure. You can see it,
I forget about
but
looking for
it's
those nettle.
yeah, but it'll up here. It'll overtake it'll overtake cornfields too. It's just in the ground until they spray it off or they drill. Kind of lucky around our area. We have kind of lazy farmers. I don't, I don't think they want to spray anything if they don't have to because it costs them money. So
I wonder if they do like them old fellas around here when they spray, but I don't know if they spraying too much stuff to keep critters off things, but you definitely know when they spray that field with old natural fertilizer. Good buddy, it'll hold in the air down here for about 2 or 3 days, and it's just like, oh, good grief.
yeah, it's got a way of doing that. There's a dairy farmer down by one of our bee yards. He's still got a manure spreader. He'll just go out into his fields before he plants them, and he'll just turn those fields black as coal, and you'll smell it. I mean, it wafts up. We're kind of up. I don't know. We're probably 600 feet or so up in the valley, overlooking Sandy Valley, and it has a way of wafting right up that ridge. That's for sure.
Ooh. Lord, yeah, if you can't smell, it'll open them sinuses up, that's for sure. Goodness.
It's like like following one on the highway. It's up there somewhere.
Yeah, we was passing by. It was about springtime. It's right across state lines over in Mississippi. There's a man that they call it Charlie's U Picket, but he's got several thousand acres out there, and he'll plant just about anything you can imagine out there, from tomatoes to greens to watermelons to you name it. And
Mm-hmm.
what you do is you load up your ride, you bring a 5 gallon bucket, however many you want to bring, and it's like X amount of dollars for per 5 gallon bucket. Well, Hannah and I will go over there, and there's a little old catfish house we'll treat ourselves to from time to time. But we was passing by one day early spring, and that old farmer had him a mount out there. He was taking that front end loader, stick that scoop in that joker, and he was dumping it off in the back of that truck, and that's what he was doing, that old manure truck.
Mm-hmm.
And brother, by the time we come back, he done dug off in that thing good enough where it felt like it just grabbed a hold to the back of the truck and rode all the way back to the state line with us, pretty much.
It stained it. It stained your paint.
Yeah, you couldn't roll the windows up or down.
May have stained your nose, you know, and it's just with you.
Oh, it'll let you know it's there, that's for sure. But uh, well, yeah, I'm probably gonna wrap this thing up. Gonna get ready for the week. But Matt, appreciate you coming in, brother.
Yes,
Congratulations
sir.
to y'all again. And
I appreciate that.
I can, I'll email you. You know, you can pick whichever one you want. Ain't no problem. I'll email you Dirt Rooster's website and Lee's.
Okay.
Pick whichever one y'all want to go off of. Hat, T-shirt, uh, this or that, and just let us know or shoot me a. I'll send you my cell phone number in that email, and just
Okay.
shoot me a screenshot of whatever y'all decide, and we'll get with either Lee or Dirt Rooster. And I know Lee won't have a problem autographing, and I already talked to Randy. He said absolutely, I'll be happy to autograph whatever it is again this year. So we'll get y'all's
Awesome.
pickings on up there to you.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Tim. Thank you.
Yes. All right, y'all. Till the next one. God bless you. Lord willing, we'll see y'all. Y'all take care.
Bye now.
Well, guess that's it for today. See you next time at Gunline Bees.